chaos, randomness, an explosion of paint that any 5-year-old could make. Yet what you're looking at is worth over $100 million. This is the work of Jackson Pollock, the man whom Life magazine in 1949 dared to ask if he was the greatest living painter in the United States. But what if that question was part of a plan? What if Pollock's fame, his status as a titan of art, wasn't a discovery but a fabrication? What if I told you that the rise of America's most chaotic artist was, in fact, a calculated operation, secretly funded by one of the most powerful intelligence agencies in the world? Today we're not going to talk about art. We're going to talk about a weapon. Before we unravel this story, if you like to question the official narratives, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. The truth behind the canvas is more shocking than any splash of paint. To understand why Pollock was so overestimated, we need to go back in time. The year is 1947. The world is divided. On one side, the Soviet Union, with its art of socialist realism, controlled, figurative, heroic, an art that served the state. On the other side, the United States, a rising superpower in desperate need of a cultural identity to export, an identity that screamed freedom. America needed an art that was the exact opposite of Soviet art. It needed something that was individualistic, anarchic, emotional, unpredictable, chaotic. And then they found the perfect man. Jackson Pollock was not an easel painter. He was a showman, a cowboy from Wyoming, an alcoholic, tormented. He didn't paint chaos, he was chaos. His drip technique, where he danced around the canvas pouring and splashing paint, was the personification of American individualism. It was raw, it was new, and it was exactly what certain people in Washington were looking for. This is where the story gets dark. During the Cold War, the CIA conducted a secret cultural war. Through a front organization called the Congress for Cultural Freedom, the agency secretly funded the promotion of American abstract expressionism around the world. With the help of influential figures like Nelson Rockefeller, whose mother co-founded MoMA, the works of Pollock and his contemporaries were sent on international exhibitions. The message was clear. Look at our freedom. Our artists can throw paint at a canvas and call it art. Yours cannot. Pollock became, perhaps without ever knowing it, a soldier on the front lines of the cultural Cold War. His fame wasn't just boosted by art critics. It was an intelligence operation. So, case closed. Was Pollock overestimated because he was a propaganda tool? The story is more complex than that. For decades, the debate was whether Pollock's work was art or accident, but then science entered the scene. The physicist Richard Taylor decided to analyze Pollock's paintings and discovered something no one expected. Hidden inside the apparent chaos, there was a perfect mathematical order. Pollock's paintings are filled with fractals. Fractals are patterns that repeat at different scales. They are the mathematical signature of nature. The shape of a coastline seen from a plane is similar to the shape of a small rock on its shore. Pollock's paintings, especially from his classic period, possess a fractal dimension that corresponds almost perfectly to the patterns found in nature. This means that somehow, perhaps unconsciously, Pollock wasn't painting chaos. He was recreating the secret language of the natural world. His drips and splashes weren't random. They were the result of a complex physical process that generated a hidden order. And this scientific discovery leads us to the final piece of the puzzle, your brain. Why are we drawn to these canvases? Neuroaesthetics, the study of how our brain responds to art, has an answer. Our brains evolved to find pleasure and comfort in recognizing the fractal patterns of nature. Looking at a Pollock on a deep neurological level can be as satisfying as looking at a forest or at the clouds. Furthermore, our brain is a pattern-finding machine, a phenomenon called apophenia. We see faces in clouds and animals in ink blots. Pollock's organized chaos is the perfect testing ground for our minds. It invites us to project our own emotions, our own stories, to find our own order in the chaos. So, who was Jackson Pollock? An overestimated genius? The answer isn't simple. He was a man at the center of a perfect storm, an artist whose revolutionary technique, perhaps by accident, mirrored the mathematics of nature. That technique, in turn, activated something deep in our brains, creating a powerful visual experience. And that powerful experience was hijacked and amplified by a political agenda, turning him into a global icon. Was he a genius who painted the code of the universe? A puppet in a Cold War cultural game? An artist whose work resonates with the very way our brains are built? He was probably all of those things at once. The overestimation came from the narrative they chose to tell, but the reason his work endures may be far more scientific than any art critic ever imagined. What do you think? Leave your theory in the comments. Was Pollock a fraud, a genius of nature, or the perfect weapon? If this video shook your certainty about art, leave a like, share, and subscribe for more investigations into the hidden truths behind what we see.